Or a good mom and grandma.
You don't need a passport.
It's the same size.
I think in the back. There we go. Good evening, everybody. Hope everyone's having a nice start to summer. My name is John Lohr. I am the FinCom Chair, and I would like to call tonight's meeting to order. Today is Wednesday, July 9th at just after 7 o'clock. We'll say it's 7:01. Before we get going, we have some new members on the committee here. I'd like to acknowledge Eric Marthinson to my left, and Heidi Gilmore to my right, and Brett Hausler to my other left. So welcome. It's great that you're on the Finance Committee, and we look forward to working with you going forward. So we'll get to introductions in a minute, but welcome. In addition, we also have Mike Crone, who signed up for a new term. So technically, you're kind of a new guy, too.
Yeah, I'm new old.
Exactly. All the new members have gone through the interviewing process and have been appointed by the moderator, Bruce Cantareggi. And as we start every Finance Committee meeting, we go around and introduce ourselves. So Brett, why don't we start with you and just be close to the mic when you talk.
Brett Hausler. Pete Berube.
Eric Marthinson.
John Lohr?
Mike Crone.
Kathy McInnes.
Heidi Gilmore.
Joyce Boyardi.
Perfect.
And Jen Jaworski.
And Jen is via in Zoom land, so thank you, Jen, for joining us. Let's see here. So I'd like to remind everyone that there are many ways to access the Finance Committee materials and meeting information. You can watch it on your local access channel at home, Comcast Channel 6, Verizon Channel 38. You can also view it on millismedia.org, or you can view it on YouTube via live streaming. And just like the other boards and committees, you can attend in person if you wish. Last, all the material that we reviewed during the meetings can be found on the Millis website under the Finance Committee webpage. Final reminder, and this is for you new guys here, new members here, please speak directly into the mic. You should be about 4 inches away because that's what records all the live broadcasting. So I appreciate that. With that said, why don't we just, I'll do introductions in a second. Jen, how are you on time? I know you have a business commitment.
I am good for 45 minutes.
Oh, even better. Fantastic. Okay, so why don't, I'm just gonna, it's not on the agenda here, but in terms of the introductions, Brett, why don't you just give us a 1 minute, 2 minute introduction of yourself, just so we get to know you a little bit.
Sure. Brett Hausler, live in Millis now. I recently purchased in April, so new to the town. Prior to that, I was living in Medford, up north, and prior to that in New Jersey for some time. Today, I work in business strategy for a national nonprofit, doing a lot of work on capital planning for about 14 summer camps across the country, and then a lot of other business strategy work to help grow revenue across our programs. Besides that, I love technology, love long walks on the beach, and my dog Buddy, and I get a lot of support from my wife Sarah.
Perfect, thank you. Eric?
Bachelor number 2.
Yeah, so my name is Eric Marthinson, and I've been in Millis for about the last 12 years. Prior to that, I was in Brookline, but I actually grew up in the area, so Natick, until I was 18, and then my family moved to Sherburne. So we lived there through college. And then, so I have 2 kids. They just turned 12 and 13. My 13-year-old is 6 feet 1 inch, which is like the most amazing thing in my life right now. And my 13-year-old is actually going to Xaverian in the fall, and my 12-year-old goes to Millis.
Right.
I coach youth soccer here, and I'm happy to be joining the Finance Committee.
Awesome, thank you. And last but not least, Heidi?
Hi, I'm Heidi Gilmore. We've lived in Millis for almost 11 years, and prior to that, we were in Sherburne for about almost 20 years, also Natick, so we've lived around the Boston area. I have two sons, 29 and 27. They are 6'3", so I can relate. And I am semi-retired, but I've spent the last 40-plus years in software sales and marketing. So that's a little bit about me.
Awesome, thank you. Welcome, everybody. And just for the record, I am now third in terms of height in my family, so it goes quickly here. So I'd like to get started with nominating the officers for Finance Committee. So in the past, if you look at history, back in '24, we actually had all regular members versus new members. But I'm going to take the same format in terms of nominating, or going through the process of nominating the chair, vice chair, and the clerk. Just to bring everyone up to speed, we voted before town meeting on May 5th of 2025 to change our Finance Committee policies and procedures to have our officer positions, the three positions, coincide with the fiscal year versus the calendar year. So that's why we're doing it now, and it might feel a little different for some of us just because it's not on the calendar year. But this change was recommended and made because we thought as a group it would be more in line with the fiscal year, the budgets, and going into a fall town meeting as well. So that's where we are tonight in terms of doing that. So in terms of a process, what we'll do is we'll kind of do, go around the table and express if you have interest for any of the positions. So we'll do chair first, vice chair, and then clerk. And maybe say a few words of why you're interested, and then we'll open it up for nominations. And then we will look to make motions to nominate a person, whoever that is, for each position. Whoever makes the nomination, it should be somewhat along the lines of, we move to,
I think it'll be, you nominate and then it'll be a motion to elect.
true.
Just the nomination, but there won't be a vote for nomination, but it'll be a vote to elect.
True.
So you can make a nomination, so,
Correct. Yeah, people will make their own nominations, it won't be seconded. But then when we get into the process, the changes will be effective at the end of this meeting, so going forward. And then we'll have discussions, and then we'll go through and do a vote per person, per name vote. Any questions before we get started? Should be a pretty straightforward process.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
how long have you been serving as chair?
1 year?
Year and a half?
Yeah, about that.
Okay.
With the off cycle now going to summer, going to the fiscal year now, correct?
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So with that said, starting off with the chair position, we'll go, or please voice if you have any interest of being the chair of Millis Finance Committee. And we'll just say, you can say yes or no, and then we'll go around. Joyce?
No, thank you.
Okay. Heidi?
No, thank you.
Kathy?
No, thank you.
Okay. I do. Eric?
No thanks.
Pete?
You said you are interested?
I did say
Oh,
that.
wow, you really sweetened the pot now. No, thank you.
Okay. And Brett?
No, thank you.
Okay. Well, this is going to be even easier then. So I'll just say, Jen, sorry, Jen, I forgot you in Zoom land, I apologize.
Oh, no, not, no.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure you were paying attention and that you weren't reading your emails. Okay.
Paying attention.
Okay.
Only 4 o'clock, my
I know. Okay, so I think the reason I'm expressing interest is I've enjoyed it for the last year and a half. It's been ups and downs, but good challenges, good for the town regarding those challenges. And, you know, my ultimate goal is to try to keep things fluid and try to keep information flowing between members as well as departments. So it's not going to change anything going forward. So that's where I'm coming from.
Nominate now, or do you want to wait till all?
Yeah, why don't you, we'll do it each time, so why don't you go?
I nominate John Lohr for chairman of the Finance Commission for the upcoming year. Second.
Okay, there's been a nomination for John Lohr to be chair of the Millis Finance Committee and properly seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Discussion? No discussion? Discussion?
I move for a vote.
I'll move for a vote.
Did we just do that by aye?
No, that was to agree to the motion. So we'll start with Joyce.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm a yes.
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 All right, thank you, everybody. Looks like that's taken care of. All right, moving on to vice chair. Same process. Any interest? Starting on my right.
No, thank you.
No?
No, thanks.
No?
Yes.
No?
No.
Negative.
No.
No. Okay.
No.
Thank you, Jen. I forgot your last vote, too.
I move, is it, yes. I move to elect Mike Crone as vice chair.
Second.
It's been
You're
moved to nominate. It's nominate versus elect. So nominate
Oh,
Mike Crone
nominate.
and properly seconded for Mike Crone as vice chair. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any discussion?
No, I just would say that I was vice chair this last year. For those of you who haven't been on the committee, I served with John. I think we served well together. I try to assist him in any way I can with my past experience in town government, and I look forward to doing the same again this year.
Thank you, Mike. Any other thoughts or comments? No? We'll go to a vote then. Joyce?
Yes.
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 Okay, 9 yeses. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Jen.
Hey, Jim.
I anticipated that as I was writing. Thank you. And then last, as clerk, as we know, Peter Underhill was the clerk before. He is now on the school committee. And is there any interest of being clerk from anyone on the committee?
No.
No?
Could you just explain briefly what the clerk role is? Like,
Absolutely. So in its traditional format, it's, before technology and everything, it was keeping track of minutes, communications, things like that. It's also part of the officers discussing issues with other departments if it comes to that. In my opinion, it's a lighter role now since we have AI and we have Zoom and we have technology translating a lot of notes, and most importantly, Deirdre, who helps us out tremendously. So it's more of when if technology's not working or if we're at the high school and we have a meeting, someone needs to properly take notes.
I'll say no for this year.
Okay.
No.
No?
No.
No? I'm a no?
No.
Come on.
You can say no if you want, Pete.
Yes.
Yes.
Right.
All right, Pete said yes.
It's a no for
Brett
me
said
then.
no. Jen, do you have any interest?
I promised I would say yes. What do you
Fair enough. Okay. Do we want
I make a
to?
motion to nominate Jen.
Oh, that was quick. Do I have a
Somebody second it?
Second.
second? There's been a motion to properly nominate Jen as clerk and properly seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any discussion? Jen, any words on your end in terms of scribing or keeping track of communications of any kind?
Sure. I mean, so I'm head of legal affairs department at Future Health, which is a venture-backed early cage cancer startup company, Cancer Diagnostics startup company. I currently serve as our corporate secretary, so I do know how to do the job.
You're perfect.
My day job.
So you're overqualified.
Yeah.
So that's good. It'll make it easy, right?
Fantastic. Okay, we'll just go around then. Thank you, Jen. Joyce?
Yes.
The vote?
Yes.
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 And Jen, I assume you're a yes? All right. Thanks.
Even if I said no, it would still carry.
I'm just testing. Okay. Perfect. All right. Jen, do you want to excuse yourself now or do you want to try to stay through the meeting? You can drop off at any time if you wish.
Do we have anything to vote on?
We're going to go through some transfers.
I'll stay.
Yeah, hang on for a minute. Perfect. Okay.
I'll stay on. I have a half hour. It'll be good.
Okay, thank you. All right, moving on to interdepartment transfers for fiscal year '25. Would either of you like to help out?
briefly, Mr. Chair, because I'm going to turn it over to the Finance Director, because she deserves all the credit for pulling these transfers together, she and her staff. But as the Finance Committee, at least the continuing members are well aware, under state law, at the end of every fiscal year, during the months of May and June, and up until July 15th, the Select Board, with the concurrence of the Finance Committee, is authorized under state law to do interdepartmental transfers within the budget to balance the budgets at the end of the fiscal year. The legislature, in their wisdom, and actually passed a law a number of years ago, which we support, which understood that when you have a large municipal budget and you only have one shot at that budget, occasionally two, in a year period, that there needs to be some leeway for some transfers at the end of the year to make sure those budgets are balanced. So just want to inform you that the Select Board at their meeting earlier today, they met by Zoom earlier today, they did approve all the transfers that are before you. And the Finance Director is just going to do a little overview for you of those proposed transfers. And then we're both here to answer any questions that the committee members may have about those transfers. So, and we understand that the three members are new here, so feel free if you have any questions about the transfers or this process, we'd be happy to try to answer those as well.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead, Mike.
I just wanted to kind of go off of what you just said for those of the new members. When we vote a budget, let's say for a particular department, fire, that budget cannot be spent on anything other than fire. And it's broken up to salaries and then expenses. So without these types of transfers, that money would stay in that budget and couldn't be used by anybody else. And we're not supposed to have budgets at the end of the year that are in deficit. So that's one of the reasons why we do transfers like this. Otherwise, these monies can't move from one group to the other. The only place that happens is the school budget, but every other budget stays within that particular group, within salaries or within expenses. And even those can't move between those two types of budgets. So just a little from the guy that's been here for a while.
Yeah, the new guy. Okay, go ahead, Jody.
I didn't know any of this when I started,
Yeah.
and it was hard for me to figure out.
No, I appreciate that context. Again, I'm Jody Kersey. I'm the Finance Director for the town of Millis. Funny to think I've almost been here a year, which is crazy. I know. Oh, gosh, where did that year go? But yes, as Mike was saying, when we vote on the budget at the beginning of every fiscal year, you'll notice that there are 8 major line items. You start with general government, you go into public safety, you have schools, onward and upward, health and rec, and so on and so forth, culture and recreation. And a couple of other miscellaneous line items like finance committee is voted on separately, cherry sheet estimates, things like that. So as we do budgetary transfers, the way that we need to vote is by those same line items in what we're moving. So this front page that you guys see, I'll draw your attention to this one. And I know that some of the font on the last pages are quite tiny, so I'll fill in the details there. We'll look to make some amendments going forward on the formatting. But for the sake of this meeting, what I'm calling to your attention is that we're ultimately looking for $220,000 to move within the budget to cover other parts of the budget. And what we typically do is we look across the entire budget and say, okay, what lines have been deficit spent, so to speak. It could be for a number of reasons. We'll get into some of those. But we typically try to use monies within the same department to cover the same department's expenses. So if I went over on one expense line, I might look at another expense line to cover it. Well, when a department can't cover their own expense, through salaries or expenses, we might look to the broader budget to, look at somebody else's budget that didn't get spent. There's layers of how we approach it, but ultimately where that lands us is needing to balance out every single one of those line items and ultimately the bottom line budget. So where we landed is at this cover page, like I showed you, and what this represents is in general government, within general government, we could cover all but $20,000 within general government. we had to look at a different line item to cover expenses in general government, if that makes sense, and so on and so forth. So you'll see on the detailed page, and again, this is if you guys want to get in the weeds a little bit, you can certainly do that. But what you'll see is that the first column shows the deficit, the second column shows the funding source within the same line item. So in other words, that very first one from town admin all the way down to town building expenses, and that first cluster on the top left will show $115,000, right? So if you take a look over to the right, you'll see that 95,000 of that could be covered in the same line item within general government. So we needed to look in the broader budget for 20 more. Follow me? So that's really how we tracked. We tried to give you sort of a 100,000-foot view with this cover page. But again, if you want to look into the details of what line items, you know, where they ended the year, you can certainly look at that and drill down on some details. We really don't have concerns across these transfers. They're very common. There may be a few that stick out to you, and we can talk about that. But generally speaking, when transfers are happening at the end of the year, it's due to unexpected things that happen just in the nature of running the operation. It could be additional salaries and wages because we had vacancies in a position and had to bring in a consultant. It could have been, one big one is salaries and wages due to on-the-job injuries for our public safety officials. And what that ends up being is that we're paying two people for the same job, right? Because we have to pay someone to cover the job, and we pay the person who's out based on the disability. So those are just some reasons why transfers happen. People retire, and they cash out their vacation time. We had a couple of folks retire as well and cash out sick time. So these are things that can be somewhat foreseen if you know about a retirement, but sometimes there are retirements that you don't know about or injuries that you don't know about. So those are all little things that can happen throughout the year, and we need to make adjustments for to continue with the operation. That being said, to be very clear, we are not looking for $220,000. We have it. We're just moving it within the budget. And so of our operating budget that we started out with on the town side, we were at $24,051,723. So of that, we're moving 220, or asking to move 220,449.77, which is a 0.9%, so under 1%, which is really, really good considering the size of the budget that we started with. And again, like our town administrator said, we have one shot at it at the beginning of the year. We do our best to estimate as to where this money is going to be expended from, and then we make accommodations at the end of the year to make those adjustments.
Go ahead, Joyce.
It's coming from different departments from what I'm hearing you. Why is it not coming from free cash?
So what happens, we don't, okay, at this point in the year, we don't use free cash to supplement the budget. We don't actually need any more money in the budget. All of this money is already existing in the budget.
Right.
So we actually have about, let me just see.
But why wouldn't you leave it in the departments that have the excess cash so that if they were in need of it
So
and
what-
not take it from free?
So every year, the budget resets. It goes down to zero. So essentially what happens is we can't leave on the books a deficit spent line. So in public safety, we can't leave it so that there's $128,000 in the negative. That's not okay per the DOR, right?
Right.
So even though our bottom line is we still have money in there, those lines are voted on specifically by the town government, by the town body, and those lines have to be balanced. They can't be in the red. So
Right.
what we do is we just move money within the operating budget to cover those particular line items.
And if I may, I'll try to explain it from a slightly different angle. Just, everyone's aware that the fiscal year closed on June 30th. These funds are all from the prior fiscal year now. So we have until July 15th to make these transfers, but the monies left in these accounts, the departments no longer have access to those funds. So they cannot use those funds that are remaining in those accounts to purchase anything or to spend on anything because they had a reset of a new budget on July 1st. So the monies that are being transferred are FY '25 monies.
So does it almost become free cash?
Well, what's
That's what it ends
what's
up-
left after this will turn into free cash.
Okay.
So we would only go to free cash as a last resort. Like if we had no money left, if we
Yeah.
we were at a deficit and we couldn't fund the, the end of year deficits by moving them from other accounts, we'd have to look at other funds such as free cash. So this is much better than
It's
using
just a
free
pecking
cash.
order.
Yes, so this is much better than free cash. So we wouldn't want to have to do that. And actually, I don't think the law accommodates that. If we had to use free cash, this process wouldn't work. This is
Okay.
only from transferring from one departmental budget to another. Free cash itself has not been appropriated by town meeting.
Right.
It's just surplus funds that are out
Right,
there.
okay.
So we can't use free cash, and we wouldn't want to if there are funds left. So this is the best way to balance these budgets. One thing I'll add as well is the snow and ice account. We have choices on that. The finance director and I spoke about that. We could just adjust that on the recap for next year, but we have plenty of funds to pay for it this year. So it's cleaner and easier just to do a transfer and cover that deficit now. So next year is much cleaner that way.
Thank you.
And just as a comment, looking at the last year's on same date, July 9th, 2024, there was $107,000 of transfers. So this is $220,000. So doing these transfers is a normal process, balancing the budget for the prior year, just as a more context. Go ahead, Kathy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm just curious, Mr. Chair, about the employee benefits, $220K that you have left over, especially because we're so concerned about this year was a massive increase. So how do you explain this great surplus?
Well, the 220,000 surplus there, that represents roughly about 8, maybe family plans for the town. So basically, the town employees utilized 8 less
Oh, okay.
family plans than we anticipated, which is great for the town. The last thing we want to do is get stuck where we're coming to the Springtown meeting saying we don't have enough funds to cover the health insurance payments in the last month.
Sure.
So we do usually add a buffer of 5 every year, 5 family plans. And we didn't need those, and actually we got 3 back, and it could be because people left and those full-time positions weren't filled, and we brought in consultants elsewhere, which increased the need for transfers somewhere else. So it's not an inappropriate transfer because some of the costs are just shifted because of changes in staffing mid-year.
Thank you.
Yep. Go ahead, Eric.
So this is just a procedural question, but these transfers are to sort of reconcile or balance out the budget. It's not for imminent payment of bills.
Correct.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, if there's no further questions, take it to a vote, so thank you. So
I move
We-
that the interdepartment transfers as provided in the accompanying documents be allowed.
Second.
there's been a motion to approve the interdepartment transfers for fiscal year '25 based on the documents provided, which the dollar value is $220,449.77. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Thank you, Jen. Abstain?
Thank you.
It passes.
Thank you very much. Just
Yep.
one note, I did listen to some of your discussion earlier, and it was mentioned that the date of the annual fall town meeting was listed as November 3rd. The select board did vote at a recent meeting to make that November 10th.
What?
There's a number of practical reasons for that, which they discussed at their meeting.
Okay.
So just for your calendars, please put in November 10th.
Got it.
Also, as you're aware, the school building project is still ongoing.
Yes.
In the planning for it. We do anticipate that there'll be an article on that fall town meeting for that, and there will be a special election in the fall. it'll either be late November, early December, again, depending on a lot of aspects of that, but I should be able to confirm that date of the actual election with you within the next probably 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah, I imagine that's the same process at other big ticket / override events where it's, you vote at town meeting to appropriate, but then you vote at the ballot to approve.
Right, so at the fall town meeting, there would be required 2/3 vote
Yep.
to approve a borrowing as part of a debt exclusion, and then it would require a majority vote at the special election. And since there's no state election this year, and the window of time that the MSBA gives the town to vote on it would not allow us to carry it through to next May. So they do have to act on that, and that right now, I think the deadline is around mid-December for the MSBA. So that's why I say that would be the latest it would be voted on through a ballot question.
So to be a town meeting vote before the election.
Yes.
Correct. Okay, thank you for that updated note. So everyone pencil that into your calendars. That'd be great. Thank you very much. Have a great evening.
Nice seeing you.
Thanks.
Almost a year.
Yeah, I know. Moving on to meeting minutes approval for April 30th of 2025. For the new members, unfortunately, you'll have to abstain since you weren't there, but
I move to approve the minutes.
Second?
it's been a motion to approve the April 30th FinCom meeting minutes and properly seconded. Discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Abstain? No? So Deirdre, that's Jen, Pete, me, Mike, and Joyce, and Kathy. So thank you. Old business, new business. Kathy sent me an email today as a good reminder that the MIAA is having their annual Finance Committee meeting in Sharon. That is October 18th of 2025. It's on a Saturday from 9 to 3. I know Jen, Kathy, and I went to it last year. It's pretty awesome. I know, Kathy, you want to go again this year, but I recommend any new members that are interested to maybe look at your calendars. If you are, let me know. You don't have to decide right now, but you can you can get a lot of information out of it. I talked to a few people while we were there. There was a town in Central Mass, I forget off the top of my head, but they paid off all their debt. You know, there's a lot of cool stories to listen to, how to manage expectations in the town, overrides. You can kind of pick and choose kind of the breakout sessions, so highly recommend it. Any other old or new business?
Mr. Chair?
Go ahead, Pete.
Really quick, if you'd humor me, most of the members that have left this community, nobody has ever looked for fanfare, or most have just kind of ghosted, Irish goodbye on the committee. And that has happened recently with Sarah, Pete, and Jody's departure, and I'm sure they're not watching this and will never hear this. But for the record, they served the community admirably with, I would say especially Jody, who's been was on the committee for a decade at least. So they'll be missed, and I'm sure I don't want to speak for you, but I will.
Please do.
You can close it up, but very thankful for their service and their, friendships and working with them. So.
You bring up a great point, and thank you for noticing and mentioning it. Yeah, Jody's been here for a while and has a tremendous amount of insight. Everyone will be missed, even Sarah, but everyone has different needs and what they want to do right now, whether it's family, profession, or other organizations. And we'll see Pete Underhill when the school committee presents. So, yes, we thank them for their services, absolutely. Any liaison updates?
Yes.
Go ahead.
On the school building committee, I'm the liaison to that. The process is moving forward. They've gotten preliminary approvals from the state building administration. And if you followed any of it, they're just going phase to phase, they came up with an initial plan, and then they're moving toward different phases of that initial plan, and presenting it to the state along the way to make sure that it would meet state financing requirements. So keep track of it. A lot of activity is going to happen in the next few months. And I think they've done a good job of getting it out to the public. And Their meetings are open, so anybody can watch when they do these public hearings. I recommend that you attend one way or the other.
Are they usually the same time on Wednesday nights?
Sometimes.
Sometimes? Okay.
They are tonight.
Okay. But you can view them on YouTube just like
Yeah, you
any
can
other
catch 'em up
meeting?
on YouTube, yep.
Okay. I also recommend, there's a webpage for the whole school building for everybody, but also the new members. So if you have a chance, start going through that. There's a ton of information, a ton of good information that will really help you understand where they are in the process and the decisions they've made up to this point.
Yeah, and I think, it's gonna be a warrant article.
Yep.
It's gonna be the biggest one we're gonna have this year, biggest one we're gonna have for a long time. So I think it behooves all of us to start really digging into it, so that when they make a final presentation here, it's not gonna be a case of first impression. And we're up to date with everything that's going on.
Thank you. Hang on, Joyce. Pete, did you have something?
Mr. Chair, yeah, maybe for your consideration, possibly to Mr. Crone, do we know where they are with refining their cost estimate and perhaps their MSBA share percentage? I mean, where is the cost estimate now, if known, and what are the milestones between now and November? When will that dollar figure be, refined to a point that we vote on it?
The estimates are
As a
still
town.
very preliminary. They haven't gone out to really look at costs, and I mean, a lot of it is up in the air right now because of tariffs and things of that nature. They are increasing, if I remember correctly, they are increasing their contingencies because of that. So the budget will be a little higher than probably will be necessary, we hope, but they're moving along at a pace, but there's nothing solid yet.
Thank you.
Joyce, you had a comment or question?
No, just that the senior center did their survey. It went out to the two communities, Medway and Millis, to see what the needs were for the seniors. It was run by UMass. They've done some focus groups to see what individual seniors feel the needs are for each town. Apparently, there were 1,700 responses, which is a very good response for a survey between the two towns. And they're working on the results, and hopefully we'll come back with some answers as to what the needs are of seniors in both towns and what can be accomplished.
Do you know when those results may be
Not
available?
yet, no, I
Okay.
don't. But hopefully the next meeting I'll have answers.
Yeah,
It's pretty comprehensive.
yeah.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, it was really, really a wonderful, I mean, the survey was good. The focus group was really good. There were a variety of people that joined. They had hoped to have two, one in the daytime and evening, but there wasn't a large enough response for evening. And I believe it was the one that we had in Millis for Millis residents, and I'm sure that they did it for the Medway as well.
Yeah.
So they're going to pull all that information. I believe if somebody still has the survey and hasn't sent it in, they're still accepting them.
Okay, perfect. I do not have any capital planning liaison updates. Kathy, do you have any updates?
No, except, I don't know about you, but we have to be nominated by the Finance Committee to be a non-voting liaison.
Yes.
I heard back from the CPC assistant, so I don't know if they're going to be meeting at all, or if capital planning is meeting.
Yeah, as of now, we don't have anything on the schedule,
Okay.
but
Do you have to get appointed yearly?
I will check into that.
Okay.
I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay.
But that's a good question. Pete, do you remember from your
I don't-
term?
Not
Okay.
enough. I don't have 100%.
Okay,
count.
I'll find out, though.
The CPC is
Might
like
be.
the Finance Committee appoints
Correct.
the non-voting liaison.
Yep.
Okay, so
Yep, yep,
let's keep that for the next agenda, maybe.
yep. Yeah, I don't know, maybe they'll have a meeting between now and September. So most likely, things will get up and running towards mid-September-ish, post-Labor Day, so your summer's relatively free. But we'll get going in September, October, into November 10th for the fall town meeting. And then when we turn the page into January, February, that's when it'll be busy. So.
The only
let's
thing
do it.
about the 10th is that the 11th is Veterans Day and it's a day off. So there's a lot of people that might be traveling or
Good thing it's not on the 11th.
couldn't be, but the schools are closed.
Okay. Any other final thoughts, liaison updates?
Move to adjourn?
There's been a motion to adjourn the meeting and second. And all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Thank you, Jen.
Thanks again, take care. Bye, Jen. Have a good trip.
You guys.
All right.
This will be the shortest meeting of the year.